Hi everybody. Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will dive deep into the dramatic events unfolding in Port Charles as tensions flare, relationships are tested, and danger looms are on every corner. From a disrupted christening to a fiery disaster at Charlie's pub, the residents of this beloved town are in for a whirlwind of emotions and unexpected twists. Buckle up as we explore the intricate web of conflicts, heartfelt reconciliations, and shocking surprises that await in the latest episodes of General Hospital. A christening turned chaos, Sunny's showdown with Natalia. In the heart of Port Charles, a sacred occasion takes a dark turn as Daisy's christening at the local church becomes the stage for a heated confrontation. Sonny Corinthos, ever the protective patriarch, finds himself face to face with an uninvited guest, Natalia Ramirez, who brazenly seats herself among the pews during the ceremony. Her presence is a bitter pill for Sonny to swallow, especially after their fallout over a dream of a new life in Belize that never came to fruition. Furious at being jilted, Natalia's once hopeful heart has curdled into a venomous grudge, and she's determined to make her presence felt. Sonny, with his signature no-nonsense demeanor, orders her immediate removal, tasking his loyal associate Paul with escorting her out before she can further disrupt the joyous event. As the church doors swing shut behind her, Natalia doesn't leave quietly. Standing on the cobblestone path outside, with the faint sound of hymns echoing behind her, she locks eyes with Sonny and delivers a chilling parting shot. "May every blessing you think you've earned come crashing down on you," she hisses, her voice dripping with malice. This ominous warning hangs heavy in the air, a harbinger of potential retribution that could shake the Corinthos family to its core. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Quartermain, always vigilant when it comes to protecting her loved ones, steps into the fray. She corners Natalia moments after the ejection, her heart pounding with worry that this clash could spiral into something far more dangerous. Could Natalia's bitterness ignite a feud that engulfs more than just Sonny? The christening, though briefly derailed, eventually resumes with Daisy blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around her, surrounded by doting family members who cherish every smile she offers. A fiery nightmare at Charlie's pub. While the church offers a temporary reprieve, danger of a far more literal kind erupts elsewhere in Port Charles. Charlie's pub, a staple of late-night gatherings and heartfelt confessions, becomes the target of a vicious act of arson. Under the cover of darkness, an unseen figure shatters a window, sending shards of glass skittering across the wooden floor. Moments later, flames lick at the walls, rapidly consuming the cozy interior as smoke billows into the night sky. The inferno isn't just a random act of destruction, it places one of Port Charles' own in grave peril. Christina Corinthos Davis, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, finds herself trapped within the burning structure. As the fire alarms wail and the heat intensifies, her safety hangs in the balance, sending waves of panic through her family. Sonny, already reeling from the christening drama, receives the gut-wrenching news of the blaze and Christina's predicament. His mind races with worst-case scenarios as he grapples with the possibility of losing yet another piece of his heart. The fire at Charlie's pub isn't merely a physical threat, it's a stark reminder of the ever-present dangers that lurk in the shadows of his world. Who could be behind this malicious act? Is it tied to Natalia's vengeful warning, or does it signal the arrival of a new enemy in Port Charles? As emergency services race to contain the disaster, the Corinthos family braces for updates, praying for Christina's safe return while fearing the scars, both physical and emotional, that this incident may leave behind. Lucas and Marco, a last chance at forgiveness. Amidst the chaos, a quieter but equally poignant storyline unfolds with Lucas Jones and Marco Rios. Lucas, ever the voice of reason, finds himself in a delicate position as he learns of repeated attempts by Marco's mother to reconnect with her son. Her persistence tugs at Lucas' compassionate nature, prompting him to sit Marco down for a heartfelt conversation. "This might be the last window you have to make things right," Lucas urges, his tone gentle yet firm. He knows all too well the pain of unresolved family ties and the regret that festers when bridges remain burned. Marco, wrestling with his own demons and a complicated history with Natalia, feels the weight of Lucas' words. Could this be the moment he finally confronts his past, or will pride and old wounds keep him from reaching out? Lucas' encouragement isn't just about mending a familial rift, it's a reflection of his own journey toward healing. Having faced his share of heartache in Port Charles, he understands the fleeting nature of second chances. The quiet diner where they share this conversation becomes a confessional of sorts, with the clink of coffee cups and the hum of neon lights providing a backdrop to their soul-searching. As Marco ponders his next move, viewers can't help but wonder if reconciliation with Natalia is even possible, especially given her current warpath against Sunny. This subplot adds a tender layer to the high-stakes drama, reminding us that even in a town rife with danger, the quest for connection remains a powerful force. Brooklyn and Chase, a marriage under siege. On another front, Brooklyn Quartermain and Harrison Chase find themselves navigating choppy waters as external pressures threaten to strain their bond. The specter of Ada Justine Turner's relentless pursuit of Sunny looms large, casting a shadow over their newlywed bliss. Determined not to let legal battles and town gossip erode their foundation, the couple forges a solemn pact during a private moment at home. Over a flickering candle and glasses of untouched wine, they vow to shield their marriage from the chaos, no matter how fierce the storm becomes. "We're in this together." Through every scandal and scheme, Chase promises, his hand finding Brooklyn's as they reaffirm their commitment. Their resolve is admirable, but the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Turner's dogged determination to dismantle Sunny's empire could inadvertently drag Chase into a professional quagmire, given his role in law enforcement. Brooklyn, fiercely loyal to her family, might find herself torn between supporting her husband and defending Sunny. Their quiet agreement and the intimacy of their living room feels like a lighthouse in the fog, but will it be enough to guide them through the inevitable conflicts? This storyline underscores the fragile balance between love and duty, a theme that resonates deeply in the tumultuous world of Port Charles. Anna and Turner, the Battle of Wills. The clash between Anna Devane and Ada Justine Turner adds another layer of intrigue to the unfolding drama. Their ongoing conflict over Sunny's fate escalates, with each woman wielding her influence like a sharpened blade. Anna, with her storied history and unyielding sense of justice, stands firm against Turner's aggressive tactics. Their latest encounter, set in the starkly lit corridors of the courthouse, crackles with unspoken accusations and steely determination. Turner's single-minded focus on bringing Sunny down clashes with Anna's more nuanced understanding of the man behind the reputation, setting the stage for a showdown that could ripple through the entire community. This power struggle isn't just about legalities, it's a test of personal convictions and past loyalties. Anna's years of navigating Port Charles' underbelly give her an edge, but Turner's relentless ambition makes her a formidable foe. As their verbal sparring intensifies, bystanders can't help but feel the tension, as if the very air hums with the promise of revelations. Will Anna uncover a chink in Turner's armor, or will the Ada's crusade gain unstoppable momentum? This subplot promises to keep viewers on edge, as every pointed exchange brings new questions about where loyalties truly lie. Curtis, Portia, and Jordan, a love triangle ignites. Meanwhile, in the sleek confines of Curtis Ashford's office, a different kind of fire smolders and fueled by suspicion and unresolved feelings. Curtis and Portia Robinson are caught in a stolen moment of passion when Jordan Ashford bursts in, her timing as impeccable as it is infuriating. Portia, her cheeks flushed with a mix of desire and frustration, immediately senses an undercurrent she can't ignore. "You may refuse to see the game being played, but it's crystal clear to me," she snaps, her gaze darting between Curtis and Jordan. Her accusation is blunt. She believes Jordan is deliberately trying to sabotage their marriage, angling to reclaim Curtis for herself. Jordan's unexpected entrance isn't just a disruption, it's a catalyst for long-buried tensions to surface. Portia's insecurities flare as she demands that Curtis acknowledge the lingering connection he shares with his ex. Curtis, torn between defending his current happiness and confronting past emotions, finds himself at a crossroads. The office, with its polished desk and panoramic view of Port Charles, becomes a battleground for honesty. Portia's plea for clarity, "Open your eyes, Curtis," before it's too late, echoes with desperation. How will Curtis respond to this ultimatum, and can their relationship withstand the ghosts of yesteryear? This emotional tug-of-war promises to unravel more secrets, keeping fans hooked on every heated exchange. Next, we will uncover the heart-wrenching drama surrounding Trina Robinson as she grapples with a devastating betrayal by her boyfriend, Kai Taylor, in the ever-turbulent world of Port Charles. Secrets, lies, and shattered trust take center stage in this unfolding saga, pulling at the heartstrings of relationships while exposing hidden loyalties. Join us as we delve into the intricate layers of deception, the emotional fallout, and the uncertain future that awaits Trina and those around her in this gripping storyline. A shattered promise, Kai's betrayal revealed. In the quiet corners of Port Charles, where whispers often turn into scandals, Trina Robinson is about to face a gut-wrenching discovery that threatens to upend her world. Her boyfriend, Kai Taylor, has broken a sacred vow by spilling a highly sensitive secret to none other than Drew Kane. The secret in question: Curtis Ashford's clandestine mission to track down a woman named Jacinda, intending to pay her for testimony that could prove Drew willingly took ketamine during a past incident. Kai had stumbled upon this explosive information by sheer accident while overhearing a private conversation, and he swore to Trina he'd keep it locked away. Yet, in a moment of weakness or perhaps misplaced loyalty, confided in Drew, unraveling a web of trust that Trina held dear. The sting of this betrayal cuts deep, especially for Trina, who, much like her best friend Jocelyn Jack's mother, Carly Spencer, has an unwavering disdain for dishonesty. To Trina, a lie isn't just a misstep, it's a fundamental breach of integrity that poisons everything it touches. She had confided in Kai her deepest fears about Drew's manipulative nature, worried that his influence would ensnare Kai in a dangerous game of power. Now, as she processes the news, perhaps while staring out over the serene waters of the Port Charles harbor, a place where she often sought solace, her mind races with questions. How could Kai, someone she poured her heart into, shatter her trust so carelessly? The weight of this deception isn't just personal. It jeopardizes Curtis' carefully laid plans, leaving Trina to wonder if her relationship with Kai was built on a foundation of sand. Kai's divided loyalties, a debt to Drew. Peeling back the layers of Kai's actions reveals a man caught in a storm of conflicting allegiances. On one hand, there's Trina, whose love and support have been his anchor through turbulent times. On the other, there's Drew Kane, a figure who has played a pivotal role in reshaping Kai's life after tragedy struck. Rewind to a time before this betrayal. Kai was a rising football star with dreams of the professional leagues glittering on the horizon. But a brutal tackle during a crucial game shattered those aspirations, leaving him with a devastating injury and a future cloaked in uncertainty. It was Drew who stepped in like a guardian angel, orchestrating a connection with a top surgeon and footing the bill for a high-risk procedure that promised to mend Kai's broken body. Though the surgery offered some recovery, it wasn't enough to return Kai to the field, a bitter pill that left him grappling with a profound sense of loss. Drew, sensing an opportunity, extended another life, a prestigious congressional internship that didn't require Kai to relocate to Washington, D.C., much to Trina's relief. They celebrated this news over a quiet dinner at a quaint Port Charles cafe, toasting to new beginnings. Yet, beneath Trina's gratitude lurked a nagging suspicion that Drew's generosity came with strings attached. Now, as Kai's betrayal comes to light, the question looms larger than ever: where does his true loyalty lie? The evidence seems to point to Drew, fueled by a sense of indebtedness for the hope and purpose he provided when Kai's world seemed to crumble. This internal tug-of-war paints Kai not just as a betrayer, but as a man wrestling with gratitude and guilt, a complexity that adds depth to his fateful decision. The fallout of a lost dream, Kai's emotional struggle. To fully grasp Kai's motivations, one must step into the cleats of a young man whose identity was once tied to the roar of a stadium crowd. Football wasn't merely a sport for Kai. It was his ticket to a life of acclaim, a way to honor his family's sacrifices, and a source of unshakable pride. Picture him in the hospital room post-injury, staring at the ceiling as doctors delivered the crushing news that even the riskiest surgery carried no guarantee of a full recovery. The operation, funded by Drew, became a beacon of hope, a chance to defy the odds. But when the final prognosis confirmed he'd never play again, Kai's spirit fractured. The locker room banter, the thrill of a game-winning touchdown, all of it slipped through his fingers like grains of sand on a windy Port Charles beach. This emotional turmoil likely played a significant role in Kai's decision to confide in Drew. Perhaps, during a late-night conversation in Drew's sleek office, surrounded by framed commendations and political memorabilia, Kai felt a need to repay the man who gave him a second chance at purpose. The internship, while a far cry from the gridiron, offered a new path, a way to rebuild his shattered self-worth. But at what cost? Trina, who stood by him during sleepless nights of doubt, now bears the brunt of his choice to prioritize Drew's trust over hers. This angle of the story sheds light on the human frailty beneath Kai's actions, painting a portrait of a man torn between past debts and present promises. Even as it leaves Trina reeling from the wreckage. Betrayal and trust, an impossible coexistence. In the world of Port Charles, where alliances shift like the tides, betrayal is often the bitterest pill to swallow. For Trina and Curtis alike, trust is the bedrock of any relationship, be it romantic, familial, or friendly. As the news of Kai's indiscretion circles back through hushed conversations at Kelly's diner, where locals often swap gossip over steaming cups of coffee, Trina pieces together the puzzle. Curtis' meticulously crafted plan to use Jacinda's testimony against Drew is now in tatters, and there's only one person outside their inner circle who could have tipped the scales: Kai. The realization hits Trina like a cold wave, chilling her to the core as she sits alone in her apartment, surrounded by photos of happier times with Kai. Curtis, too, feels the sting of this breach, his frustration palpable as he paces the halls of his office, wondering how a plan so tightly guarded could unravel. Adding to the mystery, Jacinda herself has vanished into thin air, last spotted in Melbourne by Felicia Scorpio before disappearing into the vast and tamed Australian outback. Australian authorities have since listed her as a missing person, leaving Curtis with no witness and no leverage. For Trina, the professional fallout pales in comparison to the personal devastation. Her anger surges, a fiery tide that drowns out the heartbreak, at least for now. Trust, once broken, cannot easily be mended, and Trina knows she can't continue investing in someone whose word means so little. The decision looms like a storm cloud. It's time to say goodbye to Kai, a choice that will undoubtedly leave scars on both their hearts. Trina's heartbreak, anger over pain. As Trina stands at this crossroads, her emotions are a tangled knot of fury and sorrow. Heartbreak is inevitable when love collides with betrayal, but for now, anger takes the driver's seat. Perhaps she confronts Kai at a secluded spot by the docks, the salty breeze carrying the weight of their words as she demands answers. "How could you look me in the eye and lie?" she might ask, her voice trembling not with tears, but with the rage of betrayal. Kai's excuse is debt to Drew, his fear of losing a newfound purpose ring hollow against the backdrop of her shattered trust. Trina, who once saw a future with him, now sees only a stranger wearing the face of someone she loved. This confrontation isn't just a goodbye, it's a declaration of self-worth. Trina refuses to anchor herself to someone unworthy of her faith, a stance reinforced by the fiercely independent women in her life, like Carly, who've taught her to never settle for less than honesty. Yet, beneath the surface of her righteous indignation, there's a quiet ache. Late at night, when the anger ebbs, will she mourn the laughter they shared, the dreams they spun together under starlit Port Charles skies? For now, she channels her pain into resolve, determined to walk away with her head held high, even if her heart feels heavier with each step. Kai, left standing alone by the water's edge, might grapple with the magnitude of what he's lost, wondering if loyalty to Drew was worth the price of Trina's love. The ripple effects in Port Charles. The fallout from Kai's betrayal extends beyond Trina's personal sphere, sending shockwaves through the interconnected lives of Port Charles residents. Curtis, already navigating a labyrinth of challenges, must now regroup and rethink his strategy against Drew without Jacinda's crucial testimony. The news of her disappearance adds an eerie layer to the saga. Did she vanish of her own accord, or did darker forces intervene? Felicia Scorpio, who last saw Jacinda in Melbourne, might feel a pang of guilt for not securing her safety, adding a personal stake to her ongoing investigations. Meanwhile, Drew's knowledge of Curtis' plan gives him a dangerous upper hand, potentially emboldening him to tighten his grip on those like Kai, who owe him favors. For Jocelyn Jacks, Trina's best friend, the news of Kai's duplicity sparks a protective instinct. Perhaps over a late-night heart-to-heart in Trina's cozy living room, surrounded by half-empty mugs of hot chocolate, Jocelyn offers a shoulder to lean on while vocalizing her own distrust of Drew. This betrayal could also strain Kai's new role as an intern, as whispers of his disloyalty to Trina reach professional circles. In a town where reputation is currency, Kai's actions might cost him more than a relationship that could taint his budding career. As these ripples spread, the community braces for the aftershocks, knowing that in Port Charles, one secret revealed often unearths a dozen more. Next, we will explore the escalating tensions and shadowy schemes brewing in Port Charles as Drew King Quartermain faces a vicious plot to tarnish his name. With Curtis Ashford and Michael Corinthos conspiring against him, and secrets spilling from unexpected corners, the stakes couldn't be higher. Join us as we dive into the intricate layers of deception, loyalty, and potential retribution that threaten to upend lives and reputations in this gripping chapter of General Hospital. A plot to dismantle Drew, Curtis, and Michael's alliance. In the underbelly of Port Charles, where alliances are as fragile as glass, Drew King Quartermain finds himself the target of a calculated campaign to demolish his reputation. Curtis Ashford, fueled by a mix of personal vendetta and protective instinct, is orchestrating a scheme to paint Drew as a reckless figure unfit for his public role. The plan is as ruthless as it is cunning, spread damaging falsehoods through media channels to erode Drew's career and social standing. Curtis isn't alone in this endeavor. Michael Corinthos stands firmly by his side, urging him to play a dangerous game of deception. Over a discreet meeting in a dimly lit corner of the Metro Court lounge, Michael advises Curtis to feign compliance with Drew's demands, even agreeing to publish a scathing article about a controversial custody ruling, all while plotting a more devastating blow behind the scenes. This partnership is more than just a strategic alignment. It's a shared mission to neutralize what they perceive as Drew's toxic influence. Michael, with his own history of clashing with powerful figures, brings sharp tactical mind to the table, while Curtis channels his energy into safeguarding his wife, Portia Robinson, from Drew's manipulative grip. Their late-night brainstorming sessions, often accompanied by the clink of whiskey glasses and hushed tones, reveal a determination to break Drew's hold over Portia once and for all. The duo believes that only by dragging Drew through the mud can they secure a future free from his shadow. But in a town like Port Charles, such bold moves rarely go unnoticed or unchallenged. The false narrative, Jacinda's role in the scheme. At the heart of Curtis and Michael's plan lies a woman named Jacinda, a figure from Drew's past who holds the potential to become their most powerful weapon. Their strategy is to locate Jacinda and pay her handsomely to spin a damning tale that Drew, known in some circles as Congressman Cutthroat, procured ketamine for recreational use while his girlfriend, Willow Tate, was out of town. This fabricated story, if unleashed to the public, could shatter Drew's carefully curated image, branding him as irresponsible and morally corrupt. Curtis envisions the story hitting local tabloids like a wildfire, even if he hesitates to involve larger media outlets like Aurora due to the risk of backlash. The mere whisper of such a scandal, circulated through Port Charles gossip mills, could be enough to ruin Drew's life. To track down Jacinda, Curtis has enlisted the expertise of private investigator Felicia Scorpio, whose reputation for uncovering hidden truths is unmatched. Felicia's latest lead places Jacinda in Sydney, Australia, amid the bustling streets and sun-soaked harbors. She's tantalizingly close to pinpointing her exact location, following a trail of cryptic contacts and late-night stakeouts in the vibrant city. However, time is of the essence, as every day that passes risks Jacinda slipping through their fingers or worse, aligning with someone else who could turn the tables. The stakes of this international manhunt are dizzying, with Curtis pacing his office, maps and notes strewn across his desk, hoping Felicia's persistence pays off before Drew catches wind of their plan. A breach in secrecy, Kai Taylor's eavesdropping. And fortunately for Curtis and Portia, their meticulous plotting lacked one critical element: discretion. In a twist that could unravel their entire scheme, Kai Taylor, an unexpected bystander, overhears their hushed discussions about Jacinda and the ketamine story. Perhaps it happens during an unguarded moment at a crowded Port Charles event, where Kai lingers near a secluded alcove, catching fragments of their heated exchange. The weight of what he's stumbled upon, a plot to frame Drew with Elise, settles heavily on his shoulders, leaving him torn between silence and action. Kai's presence in this narrative isn't random. He's a young man with ties to Drew, who has shown him unexpected kindness despite his often ruthless reputation. Drew's softer side, displayed in moments of mentorship and support toward Kai, creates a complex dynamic. Picture a recent memory where Drew, after a brutal public humiliation by Tracy Quartermain at a press conference, confides in Kai over a quiet coffee at Kelly's diner. Visibly shaken, Drew laments how everyone seems to be plotting against him, his voice raw with frustration. This vulnerability strikes a chord with Kai, who feels a flicker of loyalty or perhaps indebtedness toward a man who, despite his flaws, offered him a lifeline when he needed it most. Drew's past act of planting evidence to frame someone else, which backfired during the same press conference when he couldn't defend himself against Cody's accusations, only adds layers to his enigmatic character. Kai, wrestling with his conscience, ultimately chooses to warn Drew, setting the stage for a dramatic shift in power. Drew's counterstrike, gratitude, and strategy. Armed with Kai's crucial intel, Drew King Quartermain finds himself both blindsided and bolstered by the revelation of Curtis and Portia's scheme. The news, delivered perhaps during a tense late-night phone call from Kai, leaves Drew reeling in the privacy of his upscale penthouse, the city lights of Port Charles glittering ominously below. He's stunned that such a calculated attack was brewing under his nose, yet a wave of gratitude washes over him for Kai's loyalty. This young man, whom Drew has nurtured like a protege, has handed him a golden opportunity to turn defense into offense. As he pores over legal documents and strategizes with a trusted advisor, Drew's mind races with possibilities to neutralize this threat before it fully materializes. One potential move on Drew's chessboard is to strike at Portia directly, exposing her alleged role in the ketamine incident that led to a notorious night of film debauchery. Rumors swirl that Portia hired Jacinda and supplied the drugs, a secret that, if proven, could lead to her arrest and public disgrace. Drew, pacing his hardwood floors with a glass of scotch in hand, contemplates the collateral damage of such a decision. While it could dismantle Curtis' plan by shifting the spotlight onto Portia, it also risks implicating Nina Reeves, Portia's partner in crime and Drew's former lover. Now poised to become his mother-in-law, Nina's involvement adds a personal complication to an already tangled web. Drew must weigh whether sacrificing Portia and potentially dragging Nina into the fray is worth the price of safeguarding his own reputation. The Nina complication, a delicate balance. Nina Reeves' connection to this unfolding drama introduces a layer of intrigue that Drew cannot ignore. As Curtis' close friend and a past flame of Drew's, Nina occupies a precarious position. Should Drew pursue charges against Portia, the truth about Nina's complicity in the ketamine debacle could surface, threatening her standing in Port Charles and her relationship with Drew's family. The two might share a charged moment in the elegant lobby of the Metro Court, where unspoken history lingers in their glances. As Drew subtly probes whether Nina would stand by Portia or protect herself if push came to shove, her response, a tight smile and evasive words, leaves him pondering her true loyalties. To strengthen his case, Drew considers leveraging Brad Cooper as a potential witness, knowing Brad interacted directly with Portia during the incident in question. Brad's testimony could isolate Portia as the primary culprit, allowing Drew to craft a narrative for the police and media that spares Nina from scrutiny. This calculated move, discussed with a legal team over a conference call in the early hours, exemplifies Drew's knack for turning crises into opportunities. Yet, the moral ambiguity of his actions, using kindness toward Kaya's leverage while potentially destroying Portia's life, paints him as a deeply flawed figure, one whose charm masks a capacity for cruelty. In Port Charles, where everyone hides a secret, Drew's next steps could either cement his survival or ignite his downfall. The looming fallout, Portia's vulnerability. As the storm gathers over Port Charles, Portia Robinson stands on the precipice of disaster, unaware of the full extent to which Drew has been forewarned. Her involvement in hiring Jacinda and supplying drugs for that infamous party night, a scandal captured on film and whispered about in every diner and bar, remains a ticking time bomb. Curtis, ever the protector, has poured his energy into shielding her from Drew's blackmail, but Kai's betrayal threatens to render those efforts futile. Portia, perhaps sensing the shifting tides during a tense family dinner at home, confides in Curtis about a nagging unease, her intuition warning of an impending reckoning. If Drew acts on his knowledge, Portia could face arrest, her medical career and personal life crumbling under the weight of public scrutiny. The image of her being led away in handcuffs outside General Hospital, reporters' cameras flashing like lightning, is a nightmare Curtis fights to prevent. Yet, with Felicia still tracking Jacinda halfway across the world and Kai's revelation tipping the scales in Drew's favor, the odds seem stacked against them. Portia's fate hangs in a delicate balance, a poignant reminder of how quickly trust can erode and how fiercely one must fight to reclaim it in a town rife with deception.